Another early bird. Hey, Brendan.
Hey there, VBets. How are you doing today?
Good. I have fewer meetings this week, and it's also a good week to join because we got the vote closing tomorrow. So
Yeah. Been thinking I wanted to catch up with you at some point and say, how do we do these whole release things and make sure we get all the items?
yeah,
Because I think you're the one with more expertise than anyone else.
well, I do have more experience in that way. I was primarily the only person ever doing releases for the specs, and somebody pinged me about that, and I was like, no, I've documented all these steps. But then after looking at it, had only documented. So if you remember the history, that when OCI first launched, it was just there was in the beginning there was the specs repo, and then it eventually was pretty clear that people were talking about like the difference between runtime and image. So if you look in the releases.md of the runtime spec repo, at the bottom there is a detailed checklist, and that checklist never made it into the releases.md for image and distribution spec, because I was like, no, it's in the releases file. It is not, in fact. It is only in the runtime spec. And I think Sajay said that he would copy and make a PR for that, because
I,
it was like, what steps do we do? And it's like, no, they're documented, just forgot to copy paste.
yeah, I saw some stuff from Sajay this week. I have not had a chance to review it yet, but I think he did something like that. Yeah, he's got a docs checklist out there. So
Good.
getting some good progress there.
Hello.
Hey, Nisha.
Hey, Nisha.
Hi.
Yeah, I see it for image spec. He's added a PR. And it has a nice little checklist and everything in there and commands to run.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because after a few times of me doing it and it feeling cryptic every time, and then other people asking, that's how that came into existence. So the fact that that was not immediately obvious to everybody else.
I started reverse engineering some of the stuff, saying, okay, he must have run this command to get this thing. And so I was starting to work through some of it, but you've definitely got a lot more options on there than anything I had figured out. We're admiring your PR, Sajay.
Which one? That was Vincent pointed me to the runtime
Yeah.
spec changes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were just talking about for updating that. So having that's nice. The other one, Nisha, I saw you were starting on that and I had tried it as well. We've got the 1.0 branch on image spec right now. And I was looking at, is there a way we can update that with all the changes up to the point that we added the reference type stuff?
Okay. So that's a thing that I was missing, was the 1.0 branch.
Yeah, so I was going on the 1.0 branch, and if I try to do a merge, it starts, because there are two branches, the main branch and the 1.0 branch, it starts pulling all the other old commits from the main branch in. So I can't do a merge. And I don't think I want to do a rebase, because then it's going to take whatever the release tag is on that thing, and it's going to change that commit digest on that one release thing. So we don't want to change that digest, because we don't want to put stuff before commits. We want to put it after the commits. So I think I have to do a cherry pick, and going through doing the cherry pick on like 40 or 50, I don't know how many there are, but a whole bunch of commits out there, making sure I get it right feels painful.
Would you be, how about tagging the the main branch with the 1.0 release?
That's the other option. I don't know if that's why we wanted to have the 1.0 branch though, because I feel like we were trying to have that branch separate for a reason. So I didn't want to break whatever the workflow was there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why I was like wondering, okay, I was looking for a 1.0 tag, and I totally missed the fact that there was a 1.0 branch.
Yeah.
We could, yeah, then I think you're right. Cherry picking changes on the 1.0 branch onto the main branch to have
Other way,
parity.
main into the 1.0.
Ah, let me see. Let me find that 1.0 branch.
Yeah. Is there anything we're missing on that one, VBATs? Because I think you're the one that made the 1.0 branch, or you were involved when that was happening.
Yeah. The 1.0 branch is currently tagged as of
102. It's been a while.
November last year.
Yeah, we've had a lot of changes since then. So if the best way is to manually cherry pick, I can go through that painful process. I don't mind it. I just want to make sure I'm not overlooking
you're wanting to
pull in every change up to the point that the working group merged our changes in. And then probably also like a couple CI commits and other little things.
But that would be, hold on. Is this for a 1.0.3?
1.0.3. There was somebody that said they wanted a 1.0.3 release because we haven't released in a long while and they'd like a version. At a certain point, we just decide that we can release 1.1.0 faster and just go forward.
So we're talking about from
there
to
you were just there, or we have OCI Playground just before that. Just for working group proposal, yeah. So that one, the another adopter one is probably the last one.
So this is the merge commit.
That's the one that I was wondering about, which is where is that sitting right now, that commit, the another adopter commit?
So that's the merge of the line below.
Yeah, and that commit came from where?
Yeah.
That was not the copy paste we wanted. Yeah, that was VBAT's branch for another adopter.
Yeah, was that supposed to go into main or was that supposed to go somewhere else?
We merge everything into main.
I cannot find it on main. That's why I'm asking.
Oh. Is that in a private fork?
No. I'm losing my head.
Main.
Just be local, it'll be fine. Actually, hold on, what would I want to do here? This branch is tracking. Actually, no, I don't want to do that.
So what I found like 5 commits between the 1.0 branch and main. That's
Hold on. Oh, I can't open a branch to be tracking. I just have to do that in GitHub to say that I'm opening a PR for.
I'm seeing the D2 6.5 commit on main right now. So I'm not sure why you're not seeing it, Isha.
So then
I
something
can
like
see- I
something
can
like
see the
this.
screen.
Is that merging
Did you-
all of this?
Yeah. Did you do a merge? Is that what happened there?
Well, I just went from the same to merge.
Yeah, when I tried to do a merge and picking a bunch of commits, I think what I was finding was all the commits from the main branch that were not on the 1.0 branch,
So what is it
including
trying to
whatever
do
previous
here?
cherry picks might have happened. So it's getting a lot of old stuff. That was the same problem I ran into. Yeah, you're getting commits from 2017 showing up in there.
Why though?
That was why I was like, I really don't like my change. And so someone should tell me everything I'm doing wrong. So good to know that we're all doing things wrong in probably unique ways.
What are you trying to do again?
Oh man, I wish I could just share a portion of my screen and y'all all just see that. I'm off working on something else.
I can share my screen. Yeah, let's see if I can. No.
You on a Mac?
No, I'm on Linux.
Oh, that should work.
So if yeah, the bubbles are all mixed up.
Mm-hmm. Whenever that branch went
'Cause-
off, I'm guessing there was a cherry pick or something in there that changed the history.
Yeah, introduce some
Yeah.
weird bubbles because if I do this locally, it all looks right. I mean, like it pulls in stuff cleanly to merge. So I checked out.
Well, that's
Just
because
working.
the branch currently has a merge commit back into main. And so it did come back together, but still the branch has a different history than main.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so it sounds like
The fact that everybody's hitting the same wall I am tells me I just need to do the slow, painful process of a lot of cherry picks. Which I'm comfortable with. If you come up with something better, let me know.
if Tianan was here, he would probably just be like, "Oh, you just boobity bobbity boobity boop." Where's Tianan? Oh, he is on the call.
He is here.
Get on here.
If you want commits from one branch and another branch, cherry pick is the right answer.
Is there a good way to cherry
want
pick?
But then not to keep all the merge history. If you just choose merge commits, it wouldn't do it. But to just choose
I have to get just the actual commit, not the merge commits, because that's a whole different issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when I try to go through a range, that caused more problems. So I kind of just want to go through them one by one. And if there's an issue, I can at least back it out at that point. Because if I pick the whole range, somewhere halfway through, it just fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm understanding right, the problem is that you have a PR that had a lot of commits in it that you want to cherry pick onto the 1.0 branch, right?
We've got the main branch that has a year of history. And we've got the 1.0 branch that merged into main, but has a different history to it that has the 102 tag on it. And we want to bump that up with a 103 tag on that branch. And so I
See,
think we
'cause-
just need to do a bunch of cherry picks from main onto the 1.0 branch and then throw the new tag over there.
I just feel like I'm seeing different histories though. So
Yeah.
look at what's on the screen. This is from main. This is just the commits, no merge commits. So you don't see any of the bubbles. This is main. And so we're talking about,
There down to the
Somewhat-
102.
yeah, somewhere around here to like right here, which is, maybe 50 or
Yep.
60 commits. But if I do this command, which should show me the range of 102 to that same commit,
It starts getting old stuff.
then I get like multiple pages of stuff.
2019, yeah, 2018, 2017. Yep. Same issue for me.
So try doing it the reverse way.
Like such.
Yes. That should get you. No, I guess not. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't go backwards
One-
almost.
1.0.2 is ahead of.
It's
is that
behind.
right?
So you're going from
Mhm.
older to current.
Okay. Good luck cherry picking.
Yep. That was my unfortunate endpoint that I got to.
Tell me again why we're trying to tag V
There's an
1.0.3
open issue.
on the 1.0 branch. Is it just
There was a request. Get over in here in the chat, and I'll also drop in our meeting notes, which I have not been doing good at tracking. But there was a request. 918.
thank you?
Mhm. You bet. Yeah, because we were pushing back. Do we really need to tag something? And they're like, actually, yeah, because all their stuff on like Golang commands and whatnot, they need a version number somewhere.
Oh, so there is no V 1.0 tag, is it?
No, not a V10 tag. There's a 10 branch and they want a 103 tag. So if
Ah,
we're going to do a 103 tag, it probably needs to be on the 10 branch. Particularly since we're about to do a 1.1.
okay. Does it make sense to rebase the one or no, it does not.
Yeah, rebase changes your history. That'll change your tag itself. And we don't want to change the 102 tag digest.
And the 102 tag is on the 1.0 branch?
It's on both. They merged it into main and then tagged that merge.
So instead
Right.
of
I
work,
see it on both, but is it the same commit?
I think it was the merge commit that was the one that got tagged.
No.
No?
I think it was a
Mhm.
commit on 1.0 got tagged and then 1.0 got merged into main. And so you see the tag in main's history.
Yeah, beans.
sense.
I done messed up the branching strategy. Mistakes were made. .gif.
I'm
Um,
I'm not too upset. I just want to make sure that I'm not breaking anything when I try to tweak it.
well, so
you can claim it was already broken. Sorry, go ahead.
That works for me.
I was gonna say if 1.0 was merged into main and what was it? 1.0.2 is tagged on main.
The
Why is it-
challenge is the 1.0 branch has a different history than the main branch. And so when you try to start doing things there, it starts pulling history from the main branch to try to apply on the 1.0 branch.
Yeah,
There's
but
not a clean
I mean,
there's not a clean way to remerge it back.
why are we? I mean, I'm still trying to understand why we're tagging on the 1.0 branch when it's already merged into main. Is it a
I think the solution here would be the person who's wanting from what happened in main from 102 to just before all this to be considered a 103, considered for a 103. We just cherry pick a bunch of things, tag it only on the
Only on the
1.0
branch.
branch. And then, you know, it'd have a tag floating in the repo for something that only exists in the 1.0 branch.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I'm fine with that. It's
Is
not the end
there
of the world.
anything in main we don't want to release?
We don't want to make a 1.0 release for everything that's in the everything in the working group that we merged in, and then any CI changes that we made after this, we kind of want to cherry pick those in as well.
Those are changes you do want, right?
Yeah, we've got a combination of stuff we don't want, and then after that, maybe one or two things we do want.
Got it.
It's not a clean point in there. It's going to have to get back on the branch at some point. I'll do the hard path there, see what happens. But I'm glad that everybody that knows Git better than me came to the same conclusion.
There's plenty of ways to, like, you know, lash yourself.
Nah. All right, so I think we have some more important stuff than this. I don't want to distract it all with, you know, cherry pick discussions here. Do we want to talk about the RC1 release? Sajay, you want to lead that one? Because I feel like you've been doing a lot of steps over there. Sorry.
Yeah, I had one question because I haven't done this before. So there were commits merged into main. The PR commit for toggling the version is going to come in after that. I'm guessing we would still tag the same hash that was there in the PR commit, right? Would that mess up and bring in extra commits along the time, or what is it? Is there a concern? If there's no concern, then we can do it, because the vote is supposed to close tomorrow. So I was maybe hoping that a few folks from here can just join in and go through the tagging ceremony if they want to, or whoever would like to kind of participate, please, we can chat on.
So the fact that we said, here's our RC thing, we said this is our digest that we're going to make the RC tag on, and then we made new commits to main, means that digest is no longer the same.
Is that a problem, or how do we resolve this though?
I don't know on my side. Tiana or VBATs?
If there are changes in main that you don't want to be in this release, I think cherry pick is the only option that will really work.
I'm comfortable saying we do want it in there, because I think it's like a CI fix or something like that, isn't it, Sajay? Or your doc update.
Well, we'd already have to, like, when posting this, since I don't think it's plumbed up on GitHub of CI for this branch, basically
Well,
whoever's posting it would have to say that CI is working or not anyways. So
right now, we're not maintaining two concurrent versions of the spec unless there are changes in main that we do not want to release in 1.0. If everything in main is fine to be in a 1.0, then you can just make the tag from main and
that's true.
delete the 1.0 branch. Like, it doesn't need to exist. Just make it go away, especially because the previous 1.0 tag is already in the main branch due to a merge.
Yep. I think the 1.0 branch is confusing things. The V1
Yeah.
branch.
Like, we're solving for a problem that we don't have yet.
So that'll
And-
fix the one
and
branch. I
we're-
think Sajay.
And then if we're tagging, like he said, if everything is in the history up to that point, we could just tag something that straight from main. Because this has been something that we've talked about, of like when and whether we ever wanted to actually branch and have like a release, like say we tag a V11 tomorrow and then later somebody wants a V104. That would have to be like a subject of discussion anyways, to maintain
So
that.
I think Sajay's question is different. I like where you're going with the 1.0 discussion. So I'll look at that
Okay,
path as well, just to
then
change the
Sajay, do you
branch.
mind re-asking again? Maybe I
So
misunderstood.
I think Sajay is looking at the 1.1 RC tag. And we've had all the emails going out for everybody saying they're approving the RC1 tag with a specific
Yeah.
digest. And then we have since sending it out, merged stuff into main. And so when we merge this change into main, the digest that we approved is no longer valid.
No,
I
no,
don't.
no, no, no.
think that's
That's the
listed.
way that's why the things work. Because you're supposed to say that the commit that you are proposing to be, it's not just one at the time when you go to click the button. If that during the vote something has been like at last minute we need this to be considered to be also in the release, then that's a different hash that would get tagged.
But when you merge his change into main, it's merging that into main on the head. It's not going back in history, right?
Oh, well, okay, so but we tag from the hash that's there in the branch. And that doesn't change.
Can I just
Now
share
we don't have 1.1 branch yet.
All right. May I,
Now I'm confused with the your tagging strategy. As the group like decided to tag things on main, or
We
mean,
jumped from the 1.0 to the 1.1 discussion.
no. So this 1.1.0 RC1, that's a tag on an existing branch, is it?
correct.
This is going to main.
No, but the tag is on on a different branch. So it's like going to exist. The tag is going to exist. The branch is going to exist if the branch gets merged onto main. So nothing's going to happen to that tag.
But this is the 1.1 RC release. There's no 1.1 branch yet.
Right.
We've only just started this process. And so
scroll
we-
scroll to the bottom of this page.
So can
I
I-
didn't show the commits here.
Yeah.
If you go to the commits involved.
So there are two commits involved in this PR. This
Mhm.
PR is going into main. And these are the two commits that switch the tag back from 1.1 to this. So the commits.
So in this, we would tag, like get tag, and I usually sign them, but I would be get tagging the 4728B, whatever. So that it's like that world view as of that commit, and then you merge it in, and you can see that it's still the same commit hash, but now main is, does its shenanigans with the otherwise. So if you look
I see. So it's okay as long as we don't squash merge it, we get the
Correct.
same tag, and the history would be till this digest only.
Yeah, that exact thing. And then immediately, like even if you looked at the next one, then it's already changed back to dev. But that's where you can like merge it without disrupting main, but have a get tag that's only of that specific.
Okay, so we don't have any issues basically. And even though it might look like this got merged in later, even after commits to main happened, right?
Exactly.
Right. Sounds good. I think I got the answer to what I was.
So the tag will not change. It's still on that branch.
It's on main, but well, tags technically in Git world, tags and heads or branches are tags and branches are all just types of heads. It's like the world view at a certain time. It's just we've built this workflow around branches versus tags. And the fact that you can actually see that exact SHA-1 commit hash is in the branch history that you're looking at, and then that one hash has been tagged, is helpful, but it's actually got its own basically lineage and worldview. They're not quite conflated. They're actually two different distinct objects and Git.
Yeah, so as long as you use a merge commit to merge that branch to main, that tag will stay.
Correct.
tag
digest
is
state.
going to
The tag, or
change commit.
or rather, like I could push the tag as it is, and you'd still see that tag. But as long as you don't, like Sajid just said, do like a squash, which is
Or a
destructive,
rebase.
or rebase, which is destructive, then you will look at main and see in main a commit that is tagged. But I could actually push those, and then if you did a rebase or squash, you just wouldn't see them in main anymore. But that tag would actually still exist on the repo. It just would now be even more confusing. Why you tag something that doesn't even exist in a branch.
Right. So just to confirm, we'll merge commit to PR and then tag on that digest. That's pretty much it, right? And then follow the release processes like adding the docs and all that to the releases. All right, sounds good. That's all I wanted to confirm.
And same process for the distribution spec. Sajid, was there a PR on distribution spec, or you only did image spec?
Josh has the PR, and I think he's updated all the votes and the PR. So it's the same process. It's correspond.
He's got the RC1 PR. I was thinking about the documentation update.
Oh, I have the documentation merged in. I need to fix a typo on that, which Jonathan helped me kind of spot, which is it calls runtime spec. We just need to rename it to distribution spec.
That's why I couldn't find it. I was like, I thought I saw two of them. I didn't realize we merged it already. Cool. Thanks. So out of all that chaos, I have a bunch of cherry picking to do. Otherwise, on the 1.1, are we good to go ahead and hit merge on this tomorrow at whenever?
Yep. Yep. In the past, the only time we merged it early was when we had a unanimous. But since we just have the majority, then let the clock wind out. But yeah,
Yep.
I think it's in place for both.
Super majority of that. We won't get a anonymous because John is out this week. And he said that unless one more person bugs him, he's going to keep enjoying his vacation. So nobody bug him. Let him enjoy his vacation.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Probably also fair to add, you can add a note saying, people that didn't vote can bring forward more comments into the, before the actual release of the GA.
Given that it's an RC and we've got multiple cycles still left to go, I think we're pretty good there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was looking at the bit of the doc updates and they were talking about RC every week and then all that stuff, but I think it all said that applied prior to the 1.0 release. Is there any requirements?
That got to be pretty fast paced. No, I mean, it's really up to that's flexible. That's not a hard requirement.
Cool.
Can we archive the working group repo in that case, so that people don't open any issues there once we cut the tag tomorrow?
I'm comfortable with that.
I think there was
I don't think I have rights for that, so I think it's fine and good to do that. But somebody else have to do it.
We can also do some of the playground stuff as well. I'm sure Josh will be happy to hit archive on a bunch of those.
I don't have rights. I know Lucky might.
I know playground is Josh, but on the working group, we might need someone from OCI above us.
I look like I have access.
Oh. Actually, settings. Yeah, I think I've got the button as well.
Yeah, so either one of us can do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Archiving's reversible anyway, so if anybody gets can always unarchive.
Yep. And the fact that the status at the top says this has been archived, I think we're pretty good at archiving it at this point. It's said that for 4 weeks now, and no one has complained. Cool. So I think I've got next steps. Sajay's got next steps. Anything else we need to worry about on this? I know I'm forgetting things.
Set of issues that'll come after. I just want to break ice and thank everybody for kind of reviewing so many PRs, getting feedback. A lot of people kind of came in and did a lot of things in this working group, and just want to echo that. It was, I learned a lot, like a lot of stuff on how to kind of like work with different kind of like challenges and whatnot. So really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
It's been an awesome experience, especially with all the people coming in from diverse opinions and not strengthening ourselves in the process.
I think I'll echo Josh and say I still can't believe this is happening.
My hope is that we're here for the long run, in the sense that we get the RC. And I think Mike Brown last week kind of brought in a good set of things, and Lucky has opened an issue for kind of getting the conformance, getting some wetted implementations, endorsements for existing implementations. I think getting it to GA would be the next long milestone. So my hope is that we can kind of like see it through in the working group, even though the repo's close doesn't end. And if there's good feedback and challenges that we need to meet along the way, we should be able to absorb that also. But it's going to take time. So hopefully through issues directly in image spec and distribution spec, we can address them going forward.
I'm still here for the long run. Last week, I was updating Reg Client for all our respect changes. So we've got at least an implementation out there for people to play with that uses all the new tag names and whatnot.
Nice.
Everything converted. It was amazing how many places I had refers in my code. It was not a simple find and replace.
Sorry about that.
I knew that was going to happen at some point if we needed to rename it. And I was like, if we don't have to, that's good. But doing it now, pulling the Band-Aid off early, better off then. I did have one other thing if we want to change topics. Thinking through all this, we've defined, okay, here's how you attach a signature and SBOM and stuff like that with the subject and the refers and whatnot. We don't have a good standard to say, if you're pushing an SPDX SBOM in JSON format, this is the artifact type, this is the annotation, other fields like that, what the values are, so that different tools that are pushing the exact same kind of SBOM or trying to read the exact same kind of SBOM can interoperate. And I feel like there's some people here that play in that space that might want to help try to standardize that.
Oh, yes, I would like to.
This is why I was waiting for you to be on the meeting, just to mention that one.
So my connection is unstable, but I was going to ask, is there a registry implementation that supports referrals right now?
So I don't know if anybody has an implementation out there with the API, but you can use it without the API doing the fallback tag.
The fallback tag, okay, not with the API. Okay, so for your tests, Brendan, you've been using distribution or Zod?
I've been doing distribution, and Reg Client is already updated, so you can pull that and try it out.
Okay. If I want to submit recommendations, where can I do that?
Sajay?
Oh no, that was,
Oh,
I mean,
different?
That's a different question. So Nisha, you can complete yours. I'll ask after that.
Recommendations for what specifically, Nisha?
What we need to fill out in the fields if,
Okay, for the
Mm,
different types
yeah.
and whatnot.
yeah.
I don't think we've come up with a place to say that just yet. And so that was one of the reasons to say, hey, let's chat about this. Take care, Mike. I don't know if that needs to just be a PR to image spec because we have annotations and stuff like that defined over there. That might make sense.
Make something in the documentation because it's not a specification change, it's just recommendations.
Yeah, it's a definition. If you're going to push an SBOM, then try to do it with these fields so that different tools can interoperate. And so I think we've got some stuff out there already for annotations. And so trying to do some similar things for different kinds of artifact types might be useful.
Sounds good.
And all I can see is
Plus,
Loki
I'm
sitting there eating
updating
popcorn.
the reg client to do all the refer stuff.
Yeah, the reg client should be working nicely. And so if you run into any issues over there, let me know.
Is anyone doing work to update registry implementations to the new API that we
Dis-
know of?
I think,
Distribution, I think.
yeah, we're hoping to get this into distribution, ECR, ACR. John has also been a part of the working group for GCR, so we'll see comments from him along the way. I think the question I had was regarding standardization for SBOM types or whatnot, right? So one convention I can share that we've discussed is using the IANA types that have been registered. So you can actually go and search for the IANA types, and the artifact type is the IANA type. So if it's one blob and the IANA type is there, you could use that as a way to kind of like parse whatever blob you download, even if it's an octet upcoded or whatever type that is, right? So that's one option to kind of like standardization, but we haven't got down to say that that is how we would exactly do it. So it's kind of left to the clients to determine how to kind of use that.
Does that IANA type exist already for SPDX, Cyclone DX, all those things already?
SPDX does have an IANA type. I believe Rose did register it, so she's there in the
Nice
registration part of this. So we use that as a kind of like a way to kind of like use it's test/SPDX. You search for it, and it kind of gives you this is what the media type means. So it would be good if people kind of like started registering. On a side note, we did not register, or at least we haven't started the process for registering the artifact type similar to the other media types for OCI. That could be something we could start if folks have time over the course, once we get it to GA at least.
Do we need to get two types, one for the artifact type, one for the blob type? And so one's going to say I'm a JSON version of the SPDX versus the other one is just saying I'm an SPDX SBOM.
I don't know. I mean, there's text/SPDX right now.
Actually, there's JSON SPDX as well. Those submitted an application for that too.
So that might be a good thing. Nisha, Rose, I'm happy to. Maybe Sajay, get a few of us together to just sort out what this should look like.
Yeah.
And it's right now anybody can do it. We just need to, it would just be nice to have documentation to say, here's the common way that everybody can do it so that different tools can interoperate.
On that note, is there, do we need to have examples for like common types of artifacts? So things other than SBOMs?
I feel like signatures is probably going to be a little bit more of a challenge. That's going to take a while. Just because I suspect it's going to be chain guard and whatever is going on with Notary V2 in the future. And so that's probably a little bit premature to standardize over there. But the SBOMs feels pretty straightforward. Maybe there's stuff to like package your Docker file up. In Toto attestations be another good one.
Yeah, salsa provenance statements could be another one.
I think one thing that was lacking was the process of how to register these, because I was looking at how OCI registered. I found history where Steve actually did the registration, and then you have to find the email of all the fields that got filled in. It's not straightforward. Just getting some guidance or at least some kind of documentation somewhere, and this is how you would register for OCI types would be good. SPDX and other tools have their own problem, like how they impact and whatnot they do. But at least for OCI, it's hard to kind of find out what the process was. It's similar to how we did the PR for the release, right? Like Vincent was saying, like I'm happy to see others exercise this muscle of cutting a release. I mean, and then at least we got some good understanding of what the process is. So for the media types as well, if we can slowly kind of like standardize on that, tell others, this is where you go, this is where you can register and whatnot.
What was the issue with registration?
It's, I mean, the number of questions that's asked in the registration forms are, it's kind of depending on how you read it, you end up interpreting it in a different manner, right? So just I'm guessing you found it easy. Is that way?
No, I didn't register. It's just that it's either like a tedious thing. I know for a fact that Rose is very good at doing tedious things. But like a good number of us get really discouraged when, doing a tedious thing, like filling out a large.
I started filling it out for the artifact type manifest and I gave up. That's why I'm asking is like, what would be and maybe somebody will just find it easy to do it. So rather than just going by a rough understanding of the field, if we can, okay, this is the review format, these are the fields that we fill out and then kind of submit it, should be easy. Or at least we have done this before and this is what the submission looked like. That might also help. And maybe it's just talking to people and just writing it down.
Yeah, this was my concern actually with relying on IANA media types, is that it's bureaucratic red tape that not many people would want to do. And they may, either they'll push back and say, we don't want to do this, or they find some alternative route that would become like
the same route in different.
That's why I push from being a must to a should, because people want to skip it and I want to support them if they want to skip it.
hooray for red tape.
So I think at least for this call, we have action items for tomorrow. Get the tags out, and I mean, get the merge, get the tags out, update the release with the doc, and I think that's the next steps. And I mean, I'm happy, clapping and popcorn on my side. I'll celebrate tomorrow.
Been envious of Lucky there with his popcorn the whole time.
Yeah, sorry, it was figuratively and physically as well. I didn't realize but I'm trying my best to go and rewrite that blog and at least get a PR up so that we could riff on it a little bit, taking your suggestions there. I don't actually think it's that much work because I have most of it in my front brain. I just need to find an hour to sit down and write it. That's the trick in all of this, isn't it? Finding dedicated time to not have anybody else pinging you.
Finding that hour is always difficult. Yeah, and so I I felt bad throwing that on you,
No,
knowing that.
I think
you
it's a fair assertion, but I think we can, a lot of it's just prose, right? It's scaffold around fact. So it's actually not that hard. It's just writing a couple of paragraphs to put that sentiment that you've kind of distilled. But I didn't want to be, I was looking for more input, and there's only a little bit of input that I've had from folks, because, you know, blogs are always the afterthought, but we need something canonical that could be linked back, would be my opinion. That is like an aggregated point for when people are like, what is this? And just a little prose around, you know, not 15 GitHub links, because that's always fairly frustrating for me is, what did they announce? Oh, here are 15 GitHub links that I have to kind of, you know, triangulate and spin up my CSI Miami skills. So I don't think it's too bad.
Yeah, I super appreciate you running through that one. And I've got time next week. So
Yeah. So
If it-
I think all I could get to is get a draft, and we could continue to riff on the Google Doc, or we could put up a PR and riff there. I don't know if there's just like a quick pass of this is good enough to riff on like a PR without saying rewrite the whole thing. Maybe we can just get it up there, because then it's kind of, it sets in motion my accountability to finish the PR.
I support you in whichever direction you want to go.
Yeah. All right. Okie doke.
Cool. Yeah, I will. I see the chat messages over there. 8 a.m. Pacific Coast time tomorrow. I'm happy to jump on this as well. We can knock it out.
Sure. I don't know whether you can get Josh to kind of like get the tag also, so we can get distribution also out in parallel.
I suspect, given that we're maintainers, we probably have access to push a tag. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
for sure.
You can merge and push, right? So I can't. I'm not a maintainer on distribution, so
But I am, so I can
cool.
do that part. So cool. Let's make awesome stuff happen tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Till then, give you a few minutes back. Have a good one.
See you tomorrow.